Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, the soccer show that tells you what's happening in all the major jurisdictions, but we always start off with last one standing, and Budge, the favourites all arrived.
Yeah, Spurs had won, Paul. I think it could have been our best ever week of guys going through, but Paul, 16 out of 289 went out. So
a very good week. The fancied teams all won.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so just going through to tell you that the guys that went out, no, there weren't many, went on Tottenham, West Ham, Brentford, Norwich and Watford.
Yeah.
Now what's always interesting, Budge, is which ladies are left.
Yeah.
14. The ladies are getting stronger.
Getting better,
it's a small percentage, but it's getting better. I agree with you. I'm just going to read out their names because they deserve it. Raquel Quintas, Tracy, is that how you spell it? Eh?
Tracy Nell.
Tracy Nell. Yeah. Okay, Dora Roussos, yeah. Ashley Berger, Renee Roos. She's always in there. Always. Yeah. She's always in there. Brittany Berger, Julie Usher, Marlene Laveau. Any relation to Steve?
Sister.
Okay. Chantel Matthew to the
Sean's
champ.
wife,
yeah, that's good. Blair Miller, Michelle Tovey, we all know. Sue Miller.
That's Mother Willie Miller I made from...
oh yes, little Willie Miller.
Wife and daughter. He's out, they're still in.
Kerry Varga.
Yeah.
And Catherine Armstrong.
Yes.
While we're talking about going out, and then, what about my group? Is Stevie B in?
No.
How common is that? Mark Abood?
Still in.
Derek Ramsey?
Out.
Charlie Pigram?
Still in.
Let's look at your MVP of the week. I like this, Budge.
Yeah.
It's gone to Matthew Riggs.
Well, Matt had 4 picks. He changed. Originally he had 2 on Spurs. Changed it. But he had Brighton and Wolves. And Brighton were the biggest winner of the week. So it's only fair that he gets the award.
And it gives him a chance because he can still use some of the more
the
fashionable
guys, yeah.
Unbelievable awards. The guys who went for Wolves, well, there were so many fancied teams you could pick. And these guys are Mark Angel, Paul Hess, Lawrence Werners, my mate, Dick Goss. We'll be seeing him tomorrow at
Robbie's play.
Aubrey's 70th. Matthew Riggs.
Yes.
Darren Fox. Is that Foxy?
Yeah. Hollywood man.
And Graham Clark.
Yeah, ace pool player. He had all 3 picks on Wolves.
Good man. Okay. Right. Last week we had Mark Abood. We ambushed him to give us a few inputs.
He was on the spot though, Paul. We've got to give him credit.
You've got to give him credit. But the king is back. Stevie B is back. Stevie, can you hear us?
I am. Good morning.
How are you, Steve?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Top of the championship, I thought you were going to say, Steve. But anyway...
I mean, it's, we had a little blip the other day, but very good performance last night.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think you're coming straight back up, bar a few injuries. Talking of blips, was a major one in Switzerland Tuesday night. United losing 2-1 to Young Boys of Bern.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, after half an hour, United were 1-up and very comfortable, and the sending off changed everything. I found it sort of strange in the second half. I mean, Young Boys obviously were buoyed by that and threw everyone forward, but United were just off the pace in the second half. But that to give away that last minute winner was just poor, and United just have to realise that in Europe you can't sort of take your eye off the ball at all, and they're in a group that they should still win, but they've made it hard for themselves to start with.
Yeah.
Now, what did you guys think of the red card? I haven't seen it, so I'm asking.
Steve?
Yeah.
The red card, how do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's in Europe you can't get away with as much in Europe as you can in the UK now. So maybe some might think it was harsh, but ultimately it was just careless of him, and it just changed the game. And I think he's going to be really well. He won't play in the next match, but I think Ollie was probably pretty upset about it.
Yeah, careless is the right word. One team that haven't been careless of late is Chelsea. Wasn't the best at games, but eventually they sneaked in.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that once they sort of scored that they would go on and score more. But ultimately, it's all about the result. And I think that Thomas Tuchel would probably be happy enough with that. He changed his team a bit, but when you got Lukaku up front, he's going to create something and score, given the opportunity. So, I think they're in a good place. I thought they would press on and get more, but I'm sure they're happy enough with that to start off with 3 points.
Yeah, the team I think can upset the English clubs in the competition is Bayern Munich. I watched them destroy Barcelona. Did you see much of the game?
I just saw highlights, and I think in years gone by, people have said that's a bit of a shock. But when you look at the Barcelona team at the moment, and Bayern Munich we know is still strong, to me that wasn't a shock at all. And I think that Barcelona may even struggle to get out of the group. We don't know. I mean, that would probably be one of the first signs in memory that if Barcelona don't actually reach the knockout stage.
Yeah, not a good team at all. Steve, Liverpool, I watched the first 30 minutes last night. I thought they were playing their reserve team. And I turned over to watch PSG. I couldn't believe they were 2-1 down at half-time. I saw the first 5 minutes, why the goalkeeper never came out for the second goal. But Liverpool too strong in the end?
Oh, yeah. I mean, apart from really that sort of last 5 minutes of the first half and maybe the first few minutes of the second, it was one-way traffic. But to be fair to AC Milan, they hung on in there and scored two really good goals. I mean, Liverpool's defence went missing for both those goals. Yeah. But second half, they stepped up the game, and actually, in the end, I mean, that Jordan Henderson winner was so reminiscent of Stevie Gerrard. But ultimately, I didn't think that AC Milan would get anything out of the game after Liverpool went ahead. Yeah. So I think it was a bit of a wake-up call. I think Jurgen Klopp probably couldn't believe it at half-time that they dominated so much. And gone in behind, but fair play to their resilience, and that's what they need to show in Europe.
Yeah, I agree. Man City cruised past RB Leipzig 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a crazy game. I mean, great to see so many goals. I was sort of watching both at different times, but maybe Pep might not be happy that they gave away 3 goals.
One guy scored them.
They were going to score every time they attacked City, and in the end, 6-3 sounds pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Steve, I watched the last hour of the PSG Club Brugge game. I'll be surprised if they win the Champions League with what I saw. I know they had 1 or 2 guys missing, but I just don't know. I just don't think Mbappe went off injured. I think they're in trouble, Steve, even though they've got all these superstars. I think they're an aging squad. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a fair assessment, and I think it's all very well putting all these big-name players together, but as you say, if you add the combined age of some of them, they're still quality players, but they're probably, unless he decides that he's going to rest some of them for league games and just play them in Europe, ultimately, they've gambled. This is the competition they want. Nothing else really matters over there. So if they, I think they will get through the group. But that was a bit of a surprising, points to drop to Club Brugge, who really, sort of workmanlike, but no real stars in the side.
Yeah. Steve, Europa League, we've got to give Paul's team a mention. Spurs are at Rennes. Any thoughts?
I think it'll be a tough game. Rennes are one of the stronger teams in the competition, along with Spurs. So I think he might need to play a stronger team that I think otherwise he would like to have, because they don't want to come unstuck. So I think they're going to have to sort of mix and match and play a few first teamers, but there's a few out. I think Son is very doubtful and might still be doubtful at the weekend. So I think if Tottenham come away with even a point, I think it would be a decent result.
Son, Paul?
Yeah, Steve's right, but 50-50 for the weekend against Chelsea.
Well, that's a bigger game. The other Europa League...
Bergwijn comes in tonight.
Okay.
I believe he's
like him. Leicester, Napoli. Steve, it looks a pick of tonight's games.
Yeah, definitely. A really big game. I think Leicester, hopefully he'll play his stronger side, because I think he'll need to. This is the pick of the matches involving sort of English teams, and obviously the 2 best teams in the group. So I fancy Leicester, but I think it's going to be very, very close. Napoli won't make it easy for them. Yeah,
watch Napoli beat Juventus on the weekend. They're a good team, but you never know. They mix and match their players in the group. And last but not least, West Ham make their debut again in Europe against Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah, I think that will be a good game. I think, again, West Ham, they're a decent side. Zagreb, certainly at home, be a vociferous crowd. I think if West Ham come away unscathed, it depends if he plays his strongest team or not, because they've got a huge game at the weekend as well. If he plays his strongest team, I think that they should remain unbeaten. But he might need to rest 1 or 2, because obviously you've got the United game at the weekend. Yeah,
but Mikel Antonio can't play, so he'll guarantee play tonight, which gives them a chance. But that Dynamo Zagreb, they knocked Spurs out last year, so I think they've got a tough chance. Steve, on to the Premiership. I want to ask about the Friday game, but Wolves play Brentford Saturday lunchtime. Big game for Brentford.
Yeah, I think so, but I fancy Wolves. I think that they, talk about unlucky in their first 3 games. They had sort of second to Man City only the amount of shots at goal without scoring, but it came good for them at Watford last week. I just think that Wolves will be a little bit too strong for Brentford.
Yeah, okay. Burnley Arsenal, upset material?
I'd be surprised if it is, although you don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal. But I think that Mikel Arteta knows that on the back of their first win the other day, they've got to carry on. And Burnley have just had a nightmare at home over the last a handful of games. So I just fancy Arsenal could sneak that. It's not a happy hunting ground for them, but I fancy Arsenal.
Okie dokie. The game I'm looking forward to is Arsenal against an Everton team with that Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
You mean Aston Villa?
Sorry, Aston Villa Everton. Apologies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a close game, but I like Everton. I think that Rafa does what he does, and he's getting the best out of players, and certainly a lot of people sort of looked and thought, why has he brought in Andros Townsend and Damari Gray? And they've been 2 of his best players. He's sort of obviously given them the opportunity and said, right, just because you might not be wanted where you were before, you do the business for me and you start. So I thought Villa were a bit unlucky at Chelsea last week. I mean, they had enough chance in the first half, but ultimately I think Everton might just be a little bit too strong for them.
Okay, West Ham, Man United.
Yeah, I mean, West Ham have upset United in the past, but I think that Ollie's going to want United to bounce back. And I've just got a feeling that they would have had. I know that if David Moyes plays a strong team, then they would have had 2 days less to prepare for this than United. So I think United, if they play as they have started off this season, I think they'll be too strong.
All right, and the big game on Sunday, Tottenham Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think if Son is still out, I think up front, last weekend, I mean, Harry Kane hardly got a touch. In fact, I think I saw a stat, he didn't actually touch the ball in Palace's goal mouth, in the goal mouth at all last week. I think Chelsea will be too strong. I mean, they got the squad, they got the players, and I think Tottenham are just going to find this one a game too far this week.
Right. Steve, on to the championship. I read Derby may be facing, is it a 12-point or 9-point deduction?
Yeah, so, I think they're facing a 12-point deduction, but what last I heard last night is that they might be prepared to accept a 9-point deduction with 3 points suspended. So if that is the case, and if it's ratified today, then Derby would slip from 7 points to -2 and be bottom. They could have had this penalty last season, but they escaped and obviously stayed up as a result. So there's no question they will get a penalty. They breached FFP, and
what did they do wrong, Steve?
Tomorrow, what's going to happen?
Steve, what did they do wrong in layman's terms?
Essentially, the whole thing with FFP, I mean, it was more than one thing, but it's all about having that sort of sustainable income. They tried to play around with money that had been put in for the stadium and various things, and basically they just overspent. They overspent over the last few years, and it's caught up with them. So they're on a transfer embargo at the moment. They can only bring in free players or emergency cover. But to be fair to them, they started not too badly. They were sitting on 7 points, sort of halfway up the table. But if this happens, it will be a bit of a blow to them. So, I mean, they were not going to be many points adrift. And in a way, the fact that it's happened early in the season, they know what they've got to do. If this happens at the latter part of the season, then I think that's quite hard to come back from.
True. Steve, on to the championship. Your boys Fulham, should it be too good for Reading?
They should be, although to be fair to Reading, they've had a couple of decent results their last 2. Scored 6 goals, were 3-1 up against QPR, got pegged back and won 3-1 the other night. The top scorer in the division is actually John Swift of Reading. He's got 7 goals, with Alexander Mitrovic second and 6th. I think last night was he's changed the team a bit, Marco Silva, and I think with Harry Wilson back in the team, he played. Chalabar came in for his debut and had a really good game. So I'd be surprised if we don't win, and obviously, would keep us top of the table.
Good. Cardiff City, Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they've cost us money, but they've won their last couple.
They have, although at home. Cardiff had slipped up yesterday. I mean, they lost to Coventry, had a couple of really good chances towards the end. I saw the highlights, but couldn't quite do it. I think they'll be strong. They're tough to beat at home, so I wouldn't be surprised if they hold Bournemouth.
Okie dokie. Luton, Swansea. This is my lurker team for the weekend. Steve, how do you see that?
Yeah, I think this could be a very close game. I mean, Swansea, last night I had loads of chances, very unlucky. Luton, you don't know what you're going to get with them. It's they've had a couple of bad defeats. I fancy Swansea. I think that they've not had the results to match some of their performances. So I think it'll be close, but I fancy Swansea.
Okay, Peterborough against the team you thrashed last night, Birmingham City.
Yeah, Birmingham actually created a lot of chances. It was one of those games. It could have been sort of 3-5 or something. But Peterborough have shipped a lot of goals. I mean, they've let in more goals than anybody. Conceded a lot this week. At home, they put up a fight. Certainly their last home game against West Brom, they were very unlucky. Yeah. I think it'll be close, but I think Birmingham might bounce back.
Okay, and hopefully the upset of the weekend, Preston North End against West Brom.
Yeah, I'd love to see Preston get a result. They came back. They did very well to get a draw at Sheffield. Yeah. And Sheffield were flying after that 6-2 win against Peterborough. I think it's one of those games. West Brom have dropped points. Their last two games, they've dominated, but they've not been able to win them. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Preston, can hold them. It's going to be a very close game.
Let's hope my boys can do something. All right, Steve, pressure time a game. I need your best bet and your best value bet, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go for my best. I'm going to go for Middlesbrough. Okay. I think that'd be too strong. A good win last night. I think it'd be too strong for Blackpool. And my value bet, I'm going to go for Everton. I just quite like the way that Rafa's got them playing. And I think that they might pull off a surprise.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, Stevie, that's excellent. Thanks very, very much. We've now got a clearer picture, and we'll speak with you soon.
Absolutely.
All the best, Steve. Take care.
All the best.
Bye.
Cheers, Stevie. There we go, Stevie B from the studios in the UK. Budge, let's go on to Premiership fixtures. I want to talk to you, and they should put them on the screen any moment now. I think we're starting off with Newcastle.
Newcastle Leeds on Friday, Paul. Yeah, this is a game.
Friday game.
Yeah, Friday game. Yeah, Leeds been disappointing, Paul. I know they create chances, but you can't play the way they play against the big teams. Yeah, they just give the ball away in bad areas, and Liverpool won 3. The guy who got sent off, Schuik, he didn't win his appeal, so he's got 3 games. And we caught Elliott from behind. But Newcastle, I was disappointed against United. Just defensively, Paul, you can't. I know you can sit back with the numbers, but you got to try and push out. And Bruno's goal, there's no one within like 5-6 meters.
He had so much space.
Someone's got to move out. You can pack. This is a big game for Steve Bruce. But Paul, I just don't see them winning. I fancy Leeds.
Okay, I'm going to give you Leeds. Wolves, Brentford. I'm big on Wolves. What do you like?
If they score, Colin Gordon, he's last one standing. That's his team.
That's his team.
I said, if you score, you win. They murdered Spurs. They murdered Man United. Last week, the first goal against Palace was an own goal. And then they should win, Paul. But this is a massive game for Brentford. The next 5 games against all the big boys. So they don't get something. So they've got to get something here, Paul. But lunchtime kick-off a game, but it should be Wolves.
Burnley.
Paul, I was a little bit, I went for Burnley. I got lucky. They got back the winner at night. Got to score Benme 19-1 and score any time, which I got lucky. Paul, I can't have Arsenal. I was on them last week, and they struggle against Norwich. They hit the bar, and but they just don't look a team, Paul. If the weather's wild, this is a massive result. This is a type of result.
But both teams need it, but
Paul, I just don't see Arsenal winning. I wouldn't take even money. You can prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I think Burnley in a draw for me there. I think there'll be goals, Paul.
Yeah.
But Burnley will catch them from set pieces. Yeah, they're hard to beat. Leeds scored in the last minute to equalise against Brighton. They were all over them in the first game. Never scored the second, got beat. I think that's the upset, Paul, if ever there's one this weekend.
Liverpool too strong?
Should be, Paul. They rested Van Dijk and several of the big boys last night. Palace played well against Spurs, but Spurs didn't really offer much.
No, they were rubbish.
At Anfield, Paul, with a cop back, 1-4 should be in all bets.
Man City are short to price.
Yeah, 1-6, Paul. you know, you got to think they'll win.
They're going to beat Southampton.
Southampton just give goals away, Paul.
Yeah, that to me is not
City
even a
all day.
contest. Interesting game is Norwich and Watford.
Paul, I was disappointed in Watford last week. I thought they'd give Wolves a game, but yeah, this is their chance. There's got to be goals in this, Paul. If either team loses this, they're in serious relegation trouble.
So the draw?
I think draw in Watford for me, Paul. But Norwich played well against Arsenal, so it's a 1-2-3 in
Yeah.
exotics. Goals for me in that game.
Villa Everton.
Paul, I like Villa of the two teams. I wasn't that impressed. Burnley could have been a couple up.
Yeah.
Richarlison can't play as a number 9, Paul. Calvert-Lewin's the main guy. And they were
Is he
lucky
out?
they weren't 2 or 3 down, yeah. But they came back and won 3-1. Paul, I was really impressed with Villa against Chelsea. If it wasn't for Chelsea's keeper, Mendy, yeah,
They were very good. They were very good.
You know, they were superb. And I like Aston Villa, the two teams, Paul.
Okay. Brighton are doing very well. They're up 6th.
Yeah.
And they play Leicester, who are 9th.
Yeah, Leicester play the big, tough game for Leicester. Napoli tonight in the Europa League. Paul, I think this has got a draw written all over it.
Okay.
You know,
West Ham, Man United. Now, this will be a great game. They're playing in London.
Yeah. Olympic Stadium. Paul, United have got to get the balance right.
Yeah.
They can't play Pogba as a midfield player, Paul. When he's got
Where
the ball,
are you gonna
you've got to play him on the left.
On the left.
You've got to play 4-2, and everyone hates Fred and McTominay, but we've got to get that sorted out. Otherwise, we're winning nothing.
That to me seems to be your weakness. You
Yeah.
know, and 1 or 2 sluggish moves in the defence.
Yeah.
But your attack's fine.
Oh, that's fine, Paul, but it's the midfield. That's the
So
key.
how are you tipping it?
United in the draw, Paul.
Okay. Right, Spurs got it all to you. But the beauty is they're at home. If Song comes back in,
that's the
they'll
key.
be lucky to get a draw. Chelsea look very good.
Paul, to me, I've mentioned a couple of times, I think Chelsea are the team to beat to win the league.
Yeah.
If Son is back, you've got a chance. If
Got a
Son's
chance.
not back, you 8 to 10 all day, Paul.
Yeah, I
Son's
agree
a
with
key
you.
player in that team. of
That's
yours.
right. Listen, we know these derbies are tough though, and if we get,
Yeah.
we'll be so sucked up for
Yeah.
it. So we're going to put in better. But we've got some very good players, but they've got some very good players too.
Yeah. But Paul, they're a little bit open in the midfield. They play the 2, and you can get at their
Yes.
back 4. They
Get
give
at the
you
back four,
chances.
you know, and we'll have, I think, hopefully Dyer and Sanchez back.
Yeah.
I don't know about Dyer. Okay, let's move on. Now at the championship fixtures, Budge, and Hull City, Sheffield United.
Hull beat Preston, first game 4-1 at Deepdale. They haven't looked right since, Paul. I like Sheffield United. They're slowly getting their mojo back, Paul.
Yeah.
Preston pegged them back 95th minute in midweek. Of the two teams, I like Sheffield United.
Barnsley, Blackburn.
Barnsley had just lost the plot. The guy scored a great goal against Stoke last night. I don't know if you saw the highlights. It was fisticuffs on the touchline.
Oh,
But I
lovely.
like Blackburn, Paul.
Okay. And then the next one is Cardiff City at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth starting to turn it.
Going well, Paul, but you just never know. They drew at Hull. It was a terrible result. Cardiff got beat 1-0 last night, but the guy missed an absolute sitter against Coventry. A draw or a player for me. Paul, Bournemouth have got a lot of good players.
They're up 3rd, so they're fighting
A lot
hard.
of good players, but tough game.
Derby County, now
Well, they
just to
just can't have
reiterate
Derby,
those news, it looks like they're going to lose 9 points and then they'll have suspension of 3 hanging over their heads, which will drop them to -2 in the league. But as Steve said, it's early enough for them
Well, you'd
to...
rather get it done early, Paul, than
Yes.
later in the season.
Yeah.
Paul, I like Stoke. They should have won last night. I saw
Okay.
the highlights. 14-10, Paul. I like Stoke.
Fulham are flying.
Oh, Paul, this should be an absolute gift. But Fulham, even the Premiership last year, they won at Anfield but got beat at home.
Yes.
So, but it should be Fulham all day, Paul. This should be in all your multiples.
Just changing tack for a moment, Budge, who's that German guy who's got young boys? Didn't he have Huddersfield?
Yes, David Wagner.
He was at Huddersfield.
There was 6 people have beat Man United in the Champions League and the Premiership, and he was now the 6th. Gordon Strachan was one of them. I didn't know he coached in the Champions League to beat United.
That's an
But,
interesting
no, with
stat.
some Guardiola, the usual suspects, but David Wagner, yeah.
Good coach.
Yeah, he looks at Paul.
Young
His
boys, I
clocks-
know they're against Temen, I only watched 35 minutes, they had to go.
Yeah, Paul, they're not the worst of teams. And they've got
Yeah.
the 2 big boys, and it's an artificial pitch as well, which they're used to.
Now, not for us, is that my Spurs man?
That's Chris Hughton. They got beat
They got
last
beat
night.
again.
He gets beat, he's gone, Paul, and I
Yeah.
think he's going to get fired because Huddersfield have come well. They've won their last couple, Huddersfield.
So how would you tip
12
it?
to 10, Paul. Huddersfield
Okay,
for me.
Huddersfield for you. And I know you like Luton Town.
Paul. It's my best each way. Steve likes Swansea. I did see the highlights. But, Paul, these teams that don't score, they've got
Yeah.
all the football, but they don't score. And Luton, the Mad Hatters, I fancy Luton, Paul.
Okay, Middlesbrough.
Totally agree
Blackpool.
with Steve. You know, the only thing is Blackpool, they beat Fulham 1-0 and they have drawn away from home. But Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough, Paul, it should be all day, 9 to 10.
Millwall, the Battlers.
Paul, I just think Coventry played too nice
Coventry
football.
up fourth.
Yeah, Neil Horsman was at the QPR Coventry game. They play such good football, but by the time they get to the last third, they seem to lack penetration. Paul, Millwall are a poor team, but at the den they don't get beat too often. So
Draw.
I'm going for the upset. Yeah, Millwall in the draw.
The Posh versus Birmingham.
I can't have them, Paul. I like Birmingham City. They got a wake-up call
All
last
day
night
long.
by Fulham, 14-10.
And then we've got your boys, Preston North End, play West Brom. Tough game.
Tough game, Paul. You know, West Brom should have won their last 2 games. They've missed chance after chance. I just hope it doesn't come at Deepdale. If we get a point, we'll be lucky, Paul. We've won our last 2 at home, but we take a point, no doubt.
Down the log, and then QPR,
I
Bristol
think QPR
City.
certainties, Paul. They're scoring a lot of goals. Signed a guy, Gray, from Watford.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they've got beat 2-1 by Bournemouth in midweek, but gave 2 goals away, fought back, nearly got a draw. 9-10, Paul's my bet of the week.
Let's go PSL. Let's talk about the local fixtures here, Budge. I'll start you off with Chipper United. They had a defeat the other day.
Yeah, they got beat by Royal AM in Durban here. But at home, Paul, tight game. They don't score many goals. That's the problem. The Orlando Pirates beat Swallows in the Soweto derby. Big price, 12-10, Paul. But, you know, these games, a draw's obviously a player in the PSL.
So drawing Pirates?
Pirates for me, yeah.
Okay, let's look at Baraka versus
Sekhukhune. Yeah, Sekhukhune won in Maritzburg. So they've been going quite well. Paul, 19-10. If ever there's a game that should be a draw.
Okay, that's their one. Cape Town City, Stellenbosch.
Well, I like Cape Town City, even
Derby.
though Gavin Barker's got his team off. I like Cape Town City, are the 2 teams, Paul. I like what I see from them, 12-10, yeah.
Chiefs, Royal AM.
Paul, it should be Chiefs. Yeah, they didn't play well against Sundowns last week. Manyama missed a penalty for Chiefs. Royal AM, that's the old Bloemfontein Celtic. Chiefs don't get beat, Paul. 8-10 is hard for a team that doesn't score many goals, but it should be Chiefs.
Okay, let's look at the next one then. Now we've got Morocco Swallows, Supersport.
Paul, 18-10. Swallows don't get beat too often, but Supersport going well, Paul. Of the 2 teams, I like Supersport, but every game Swallows play, if you back the draw,
you
end up in a major profit.
Okay, and then 6-10 Sundowns.
Yeah, Paul, top team, Paul. Good team, 6-10.
Are they still called? They're not called Mamelodi Sundowns.
No, they are Mamelodi Sundowns.
They're still Mamelodi Sundowns.
They play out at Attridgeville. They're in Mamelodi. That's their time. Paul, it's just for the space there, so we put Sundowns.
Okay.
TS Galaxy's the old Highlands Park, Owen de Gama's team.
Yeah.
But I don't see them upsetting Sundowns.
Give us your picks, Budge.
Paul, as our Gold Circle Soccer 6, I'm bankering Wolves to beat Brentford. I'm looking for the upset in the Burnley-Arsenal game. I have to bank a Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace. Likewise, Man City to beat Southampton. And I'm looking for draws or better results in the Norwich City-Watford match and the Aston Villa versus Everton fixture. The field in those 2, 144.
Okay,
Onto
the next
the
one.
Phumelela, the PSL one. I'm going Orlando Pirates, win and draw against Chipper United. I'm going the field in the Burnley-Arsenal game. Niasa Big Bullets is the second leg of the Champions League. Amazulu lost 1-0 at home against 10 men. I don't see them winning in Malawi. I'm going the field in the Baraka versus Sekhukhune game. I'm going Cape Town City to avoid defeat in the Cape Derby against Stellenbosch. And I'm bankering Kaizer Chiefs to beat Royal AM 2-1-6.
All right, what's the next one, Budge?
Gold Circle Soccer 10. I'm bankering Wolves to beat Brentford. I'm going Sheffield United win and draw at Hull City. I'm going the field in the Burnley-Arsenal fixture. I'm bankering Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace, Man City to beat Southampton. A second page, I'm going the field in the Norwich City-Watford game. I don't see Bournemouth losing at Cardiff. I'm bankering Fulham to beat Reading and ending up with West Brom to avoid defeat at Preston North End. And I don't see Aston Villa losing to Everton, 144.
The big one?
The big one, the Soccer 13. Yeah, I'm going Burnley, looking for the upset, win and draw at home against Arsenal. I'm bankering Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace, Man City to beat Southampton. I'm going Aston Villa, win and draw at home against Everton. Likewise, Norwich City, win and draw at home against Watford. Going Blackburn Rovers, win and draw at Barnsley. Signing with another away club, Bournemouth to avoid defeat at Cardiff City. The second page, I'm going Stoke City, win and draw at Derby. I'm chancing Luton Town at home to beat Swansea City. I'm going Millwall, win and draw at home against Coventry City, and ending up with 3 bankers. West Brom to beat Preston, Birmingham to beat Peterborough, and QPR to beat Bristol City, 256.
All right, Budge, the favourite part, best bets. Explain
Paul, this
your
is a bit of a
thinking.
mouthful. The first game, I'm going over 2.5 goals, Wolves Brentford. They both got to go for it. I think it'll be an early game and the game will hopefully explode. I'm going Liverpool to keep a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. Now the next one, Paul, is 19-10. When I saw this, I thought I was mistaken. But it's both teams to score in the Man City versus Southampton game. I'm going no. So I don't see Man City scoring. I mean, Southampton scoring. And there has to be over 2.5 goals.
Okay,
so that's Man City to win 3-0, 4-0.
Only Man City to score?
And they have to score more than 2.5. They have to score 3 goals. So 12-1, Paul.
Okay.
That was a great bet.
Championship treble?
Yeah, I'm going Birmingham City to beat Peterborough. I'm going Fulham to beat Reading and both teams to score. And I'm going over 2.5 goals in the QPR versus Bristol City fixture, 3,000 to 200.
All right, the next one, Budge.
Yeah, Paul, this is double chance and over 2.5 goals. So I'm going Leeds United to win or draw. I'm going Burnley to win or draw. And Aston Villa to win or draw. And over 2.5 goals in each game.
Whoa.
The big
Burnley
prices,
don't
Paul,
do that often.
Paul, no, Paul, but the prices, I couldn't believe when I accumulated them. That's actually a good bet, Paul.
You may as well put in Baraka to win the league.
Yeah, but Paul, you know,
that's a tough one to win.
Yeah, it's a tough one, Paul, but if there's goals, we've got to squeak.
Yeah.
You know, both teams to score, I'm going Burnley, Arsenal, Norwich, Watford, Aston Villa, Everton, and I think Tottenham will score against Chelsea, 2,100 to 200. Team goals only. All these teams have to score a minimum of 2 goals or over
2 goals.
Over 1.5 goals, 2 goals or more. I'm going Birmingham City, Fulham, Huddersfield Town, and QPR, 2,900 to 200.
Okay.
And Collis King 6 or Nixa. I'm going Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace, Man City to beat Southampton, Fulham to beat Reading, QPR to beat Bristol City, Roma to beat Hellas Verona, and Napoli to beat Udinese, 2,700 to 200.
Roma, top of the league?
Yep, Mourinho's boys. They play tonight in the Europa Conference League. But I watched them last week, a little bit lucky against Sassuolo. They scored. It's going for them at the moment.
Yeah, it's going for them.
He's got them buzzing, so I'm with Jose.
I'm with Jose too. Well, there we go. Don't forget to get those bets on in the last one standing. Until next time, stay on side.